Hi, welcome to the Coffee Chat Show here on Buzzin Pattaya, the show where we talk about things that are happening right here, right now, as well as general news, tips, information and advice. Alright, so today I'm joined with this man here. Now, if you don't know who this is, shame on you. You've obviously not been running the bar scene. This is Ricky in Pandoras. Ricky, greetings, sir.
Thank you very much.
Now,
Hello,
I guess really, you are to the Agogo bar scene what Al Pacino is to gangsters, aren't you? Really? I mean, you've been here. Well, you've been here like, how long have you been here?
Actually, just coming 26 years now.
26 years. So hang on, 26. So I was young then.
Careful.
I mean, so 26 years you've been here. And before you came to Pattaya, what were you doing? Where are you originally from?
I'm originally from London, South London.
South, whereabouts?
Born in Streatham.
Oh, okay.
But it moved all around Surrey and Croydon.
Yeah.
I was actually, I had my own company. I was a plumbing design engineer.
Wow.
Started off as a plumbing, did a plumbing apprentice. Over the years, sort of ended up in the office doing the design work and everything.
Yeah.
Travelled around a lot of the world doing it. Made good money out of it as well.
Yeah.
If I was still doing it, I would be making even more money.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But I was in Oman. I was in Oman doing a project, and we had to come over here to sort something out with a sanitary supplier, Armitage Shanks.
Oh, yeah, that's a name drop.
Big plug. And
Are they still going?
yeah, I think so.
Oh, they were.
They had a factory in Bangkok.
Yeah.
And I knew the head guy there quite well, and we've got a problem. I'm phoning up from Oman, and he said, I think you better come to the factory and have a look how we do it.
Yeah.
So I said, I really don't want to go to England this time of the year. It's like February or something.
Oh yeah, that's way
He
too
said, no. He said, the factory's in Bangkok. When are we going?
That was a game changer, was it?
Yeah. Then all of a sudden, all the quantity surveyors wanted to come along on it as well.
Yeah.
Because they were the ones that were giving us the hassle. So we all trooped over here, had a half a day meeting in their office. We ended up staying. We were staying 7 days, but then there's a problem with the flight at the end, so we stayed 9 days.
Wow.
And Armitage Shanks looked after us very well. We had a great time.
Brilliant. And I mean, 26 years ago, I can't imagine. I mean, let's talk about Bangkok before we talk about Pattaya. 26 years ago, what was Bangkok like? I mean, obviously it's nothing like it is today.
No, it was... When I first came here in '83, it was Pat Pong, and that was it basically. You know?
83, that's like nearly 40 years
that was when
ago.
I came over from Oman.
Wow.
And then I spent a few years backwards and forwards, you know. And then Johnny from the Hollywood bars gave me a job. You know, so I came over and moved up. Just come for 3 months.
Yeah.
26 years
26 years later, it's 3 months, it's long overdue.
Yeah. But it was a lot rougher in the old days.
In what way?
Nobody worked together. All the bars worked against each other. You couldn't. I was in Nana most of the time. Spent a little time in Cluta Plaza, and that was going. You'd get all the bars to agree to something, you know, fix the prices. And there was always one that
Didn't want to do it.
And it was very dangerous as far as, you know, I think about 5 or 6 bar owners, managers who got bumped off.
Wow, really?
It's not like, you know, nowadays if you've got a problem with another bar manager, you let the police sort it out.
Yeah.
But no, in Bangkok in the old days it was a lot more dangerous.
Wow.
A few people got out by the skin of their teeth.
And who mainly run the bar scene? Was it like the Mafia, the Going, the police? I mean, you were saying about getting people pumped off.
There was a bit of a Mafia in Pat Pong. But in Nana, we had a thing where, I don't know how it happened, but all your security door guys, most of them were off-duty police.
Okay.
So it was a bit of a weird situation.
Yeah.
And that's where I kept getting my problems from. I was doing shows, that's how I made my name in Bangkok. I was doing all the different sort of lesbian style shows. The police were supposed to bust us for doing it, but they were also a doorman.
So they kind of like turned up, thought, oh,
Yeah,
we're in a situation.
They're not going to close this down because they lose their job, you know.
So how long were you in Bangkok for?
10 years.
10 years in Bangkok. And what made you go from Bangkok to come here to Pattaya?
Originally, it's when Taxi was in power and he was cleaning up Bangkok. It was quite obvious that he wanted to sort of clean up the image, you know. And he was pushing everything down to Pattaya. Now I was working with Angel Witch at the time, and we'd agreed that we'd open up, before this happened, we'd open up a bar in Pattaya, and I'd have it. Well, it hadn't happened. I think I was with Angel Witch about 3 years. We were still waiting for this bar. So I came down on the days off, started looking around, ended up with Mr. T from Agogo. We did a deal where I bought a chunk of the bar, which I had partners, we bought 80% of the bar.
Yeah.
And that was it. But the funny thing was, 2 months later, Angel Witch came down, Matt and Pip, and they bought a bar down there.
And is that when the Angel Witch that was on Soy 15?
That's it, yeah. That's right.
Because I remember that when Mark was there, when Mark was the manager.
That's right.
Before it closed down. So I mean, obviously that's recent times.
It's been there for years.
Yeah.
What actually happened was Matt, the owner, they rented the building and he was to have it all changed around to suit what he wanted it, you know. He was very meticulous, you know, this has got to be the way it's got to be done, you know. He was East German, so it's great.
Okay, alright.
And then he found that he was saying to me, he said, it's all wrong. The architect's plans, you know, he brought up and showed them to me. He said, the space is wrong. It's not the right distance between the columns, it's not the right height. This architect's useless, Rick. I went and checked, the architect was spot on.
Oh, was it?
It was a one-off odd building that wasn't built, so he knocked the whole bloody lot down, rebuilt it the way he wanted it, and carried on paying rent.
Wow. And is that the one that was...
That's the one that's there now, yeah. And I was really amazed that he actually spent all that money just so he could get the building the way he wanted.
Wow.
But you know, 4 months in, you know, he did all right the first few years.
Yeah, I mean, I did a lot of photography in Angel Witch with Mark and that, and you know, if you've been to Angel Witch, drop a comment below. You know, what was one of your fondest memories of Angel Witch? 'Cause it really was a good place to hang out, and I like the way they set it up with the long stage in the middle and then the tiered seating. You know, it was good, and of course the girls would drop down from upstairs. It was really well thought out.
The only thing wrong with the tiered seating is there was no breaks in it. There was,
excuse me, mate, sorry.
Right out the side of the bar.
I'm busy, you know. Sorry, mate.
One thing that always tickled me, they had 3 sets of toilets. I don't know if you ever noticed.
3? I remember the one by the bar.
There was one for men, one for women, and one for lady boys.
No, really?
Well, Pim was the lady boy, Matt's wife.
Yeah.
Wife. And there was a lot of lady boys in the bar.
Yeah.
You know, so they wanted their own toilet.
Did they really? Well, I suppose they must have stood and thought, which one do we go in? I mean, I must admit, if I'm stood there taking a leak and someone stood there with I'm thinking, oh my lord.
The good thing he did on the men's toilets, which was my idea, but he sort of did it, was if you stood at the urinals, there was a window with a headlight. Right, you could stay having a pee and still watch the show. You know, you didn't miss anything.
Yeah, I remember that as well. I mean, Angel Witch was brilliant. I mean, so you came from Bangkok, come down here. What was your first bar here? Where did you start?
Diamond Agogo.
In Diamond Agogo. And was that your own bar?
No, it was Mr. T, myself, 3 other guys. There was 5 of us in all had 20%.
Right.
But a lot of people thought it was T, but no, I fell out with the other 3 Phalang guys, one guy in particular. And a year later, I sort of keep it off.
Yeah.
You know.
And where did you go to from there?
From there, I went, let me just think, Baywatch. Glenn, who was one of the customers in Diamond, was always like, oh, I know how to run, blah, blah, blah,
okay.
blah.
Yeah.
One of them.
Yeah, there's plenty.
And then it was, Rick, if you're leaving, come and work in my bar. No, you already had a a flang guy working there, but he had no real experience at all. He was just helping out. But I went down there
Yeah.
and walked into a total disaster area.
Okay.
He was getting ripped off left, right, centre. The mama sand was up to all sorts of tricks. Now, Glenn was one of the silliest owners. He let his little brain rule his big brain.
Okay.
Every night he had to have a girl from the bar.
Ooh, yes.
The mama sand's job to get it, and I don't even think they got paid, to be honest. So he wasn't the most popular.
Yeah.
owner. The same rules are talking a lot. He didn't want to pay the police in the beginning.
Oh, is that the same guy, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drink
Okay.
caused a few more problems. But unfortunately, when I was in Diamond Agogo, sorry, just jump back there.
Yeah.
When I was in Bangkok, there was no tax, no work permit, nothing. Came down here, thought it was the same.
Okay.
And then in Diamond Agogo one night, the police walked in with the cameras and everything and arrested me. And it was my day off as well.
What a day off.
Wasn't happy about that. I hadn't finished my drink.
Just give me a minute, mate. I'm just going to finish my drink.
But the funny thing was, it was a bit of an eye-opener. When I was in Bangkok, the head of Lumpini Police and I had a love-hate relationship.
Right.
He was always coming in and threatening to bust me and everything. People would go out and we'd laugh about it. Did you get the girls to do that?
We'll cover that in part 2. So you got you started, eh?
Anyway, so they came in and busted me. And then later on we're down in Soy 9. It's when the immigration was in Soy 9. And I was left on my own with the big boss. And those guys sorting everything out. What I don't know now. Is there any way that we can sort of sort this out?
Yeah.
Be very careful what I said.
Yeah.
And he said, well, no, not really, because the complaint came down from Bangkok. And your file, you're very obviously the owner manager in the bar. I said, what file? When you went, clonk. He's about an inch thick.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And did you sort it?
No.
Our survey says.
I spent two nights in the monkey house. Went to call, paid the fine, and then they said, go back to work tonight. Be all right.
Only in Thailand. I mean, that is typical, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
I've seen it before when they used to round up all the girls on Beach Road.
That's right.
You know, they'd scoop them all up, take them in the police station. You shouldn't be doing that. 100 baht. Right, go back now. And 10 minutes later, they're stood again. Hello. I mean, it's just only here.
Only in Thailand.
Yeah, definitely. So you went from there to where was
Just
you
an
next?
interesting point on that. We asked him who dropped us in the
Okay.
proverbial.
Yeah.
And his reply was, which shocked me, I can't tell you because we're not sure if they've got a work permit or not. But I'll tell you in 3 weeks' time. Oh, what?
Okay. And did you find out?
Yeah.
Wow.
And he knew that we knew as well, and he wasn't very happy. He was down the flank. But
Yeah. And back in the day then, obviously like you said earlier, it was very bitchy then, it was very like
Yeah.
trying to get one over each other.
Everybody was, yeah.
And nowadays, fast forward to like now, I mean
It's still a bit that way, especially now with the situation we've got at the moment. But it's nowhere near as bad as it used to be. You know, stealing managers and all the girls and all sorts of things. You know.
And I mean, when you say about the girls, Ricky, I mean, question I'd like to ask is like, how do you get the girls? I mean, where do you get them from? Is it like word of mouth or?
Well, I just stand outside and smile. Hi, girls.
What a charmer he is. All right, so let's go down that road then. So, you know, if you've never been in Pandoras, I mean, we're going to talk about Pandoras a lot more in detail in part 2. But if you haven't been to Pandoras, which is where we are now, this is Ricky's place. It's very, what do we call it? I don't know how we could explain it. Okay, he's going to have a heart attack on me. I'm not giving you mouth to mouth.
It's called out. Hands on.
Yeah, you're right. He's gonna have a heart attack.
Oh dear.
Let's just call it. It's very entertaining. Let's just say that. So a girl comes in, says, "Hi, I'm interested in working." I mean, how do you explain the requirements?
Mama says job. But we are very strict. I do tell them, Mama saying, you've got to explain to the girls what sort of bar this is.
What Pandoras is about, yeah.
And then it's up to the girl.
Okay, all right. Well, that's
the terrible thing is, a girl that comes in, all right, I'll come to work tomorrow, turns up and then it's horrified. Oh my goodness, oh.
Yeah, it must be a shock to the system.
It's a shock to a lot.
All right, well, let's go back then. Right. So we spoke about the girls. So where did you go next then?
I did. Babe watch.
Yeah.
Trying to sort things out. And the next thing I know, I'm getting arrested again. I'm getting bored of this.
And you're still here. Did you not take the hint?
So it turns out that they told me that day who dropped me in, it was the mother Sam. I was messing up her plans, got arrested. Took then actually I think they just opened up Soy 5.
Yeah.
I went to court. There was a problem on the day because there was a power failure, so we couldn't actually have our cases. Oh no, not another 2 days in the monkey house. Now, when we started off in Soy 9 first, doing all the paperwork and everything, we said, right, go home, get changed, have a shower, go to this place at 8 o'clock in the morning, sign in, give your fingerprint, then come up to the courthouse, you've got to be there by 9. Oh, all right, that's okay. Off we went. When I went to the immigration place, they put them all on the passenger wagon.
Yeah.
No. Come with us, we'll take you now, car. I'm getting good treatment here.
So you went in their car?
Yeah, up to the court. So then we've got no power. The power's gone. I was surprised that the court doesn't have a backup generator.
Oh, yeah.
They might have by now.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a right kerfuffle going on. And I was going, I really don't want to stay in the monkey house again. That's all right. Are you guilty? I've learned how it worked by then. Yes, I am guilty.
All right.
So.
And was that a teapot contribution?
Yeah, sort of, basically. They went the sort of judge and came back and said it's $2,500 fine.
Wow.
I went, that's 500 more than last time. You want to go home?
On that note, I think I'll just pay that money and we'll call it quits.
I paid it. They said, right, I'll take you back to Soy 9. You can do all the bits and pieces, paperwork, I went back. I was actually taken back in one of the big policeman's car, Burke. Got there, he said, right, Rick, go in the cell for an hour and we'll get the paperwork done and you can go off. All right, okay, fine, yeah, no problem. Put me back in the same cell.
Yeah.
And then he came in about 2 hours later, got a problem. Oh no, here we go.
Dear.
He said, when we brought you from the call, we didn't pick up your file. We haven't got the paperwork to clear you.
No, really?
He said, tomorrow's Sunday, and they're not open. Saturday, and they're not open. And they're not open Sunday either. Oh, Jesus.
And did you?
Give them their due. They did get it sorted out in the end, before Monday. I don't want to drop anybody in here, but they did get it sorted out.
And did you have to stay in?
I had to stay for two days.
Oh, no. I bet that was fun. What was your food like?
Worst hotel I've ever been in.
Well, did you get a menu, or was it just like as it arrived? I mean, obviously, you've had the brush with the boys in Brown here a few times, etc. What I want to do is in part 2, we're going to talk about how you've gone from there to here, because you have got a very, very well established bar here, and everybody knows about you, and you've been here a long, long time. But before we wrap this part up, I just want to finish on one last thing. And when you look back in time, when you look back at when you first got here in Bangkok and then you came to Pattaya and you've been through the system, What do you think is the biggest change that you've seen in the bar scene in terms of the way it operates and the girls' attitudes, etc.? What's been the biggest change that you think?
Mobile phones.
Right.
That really sort of put the cat amongst the pigeons, and still does now. I can tell you loads of stories about it, but definitely in the old days, everybody came here, had a good time. You always think when you first come here is the best time.
Yeah.
You know, it is a surprise to everybody. But first it was pages, then mobile phones came in, and the customers' style changed. You know, they always try to avoid the bar phone and give me your phone number and all this sort of stuff. I would say definitely the mobile phones would be the biggest item that changed the style of the bars. The girls themselves have changed as well. In the early days, especially when we were in Bangkok, a girl wouldn't work in the bar because she wanted to find a nice customer, get married and get out of the country.
Yeah.
Now they don't. They want to stay here, get as much money as they can off the customers to pay for their boyfriend's motorbike.
Yeah.
You know, that style has changed. And also the best looking girls, I think, were in the early days. And they all got married, went off out of the country.
I must admit, I mean, as a photographer here, and I've done some work with you and many other people.
And that's
here.
another story.
We'll talk about that in part two. But one thing I have noticed is that you are right in terms of the girls. You know, they are slightly heavier than what they always used to be. You know, and it's difficult.
That's McDonald's fault.
I don't know what you mean. Oh dear. All right, well listen, it's been brilliant for part one. Thank you so much for sharing these wonderful experiences. We've got so much more to talk about, so don't forget, part two will be coming out in a few days' time. But for now, we're going to close up here with Ricky and Pandoras in LK Metro. If you haven't been, the description is in the link below. Have a look, check it out. It really is a fun place to come and enjoy.
Yeah, say hello.
Yeah, I wouldn't suggest it right now because this is the only person you can have fun with, and we'll leave it to when it's over. All right, so thank you so much for sharing that fantastic information. It was brilliant. Guys, remember, hit the subscribe button and also the bell icon if you'd like to be notified when we bring out a new video. And don't forget, join our Telegram group because some of the Pandora girls are going to be in there. So we'll show you what the Pandora girls are all about and more about that later on. All right, that's it for me. Thank you very much, Ricky. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
And I will be back in the near future, and watch your space.